Okay, so welcome back to the show. This is Man or Metal, and the purpose of this show is to help men become better humans by embracing our emotions and really talking about the things that we as men sometimes are not always comfortable with. So, on the basis of that, I saw this post on Instagram. As you can see here, I'll read it. It says, "I used to think communication was the key until I realized comprehension is. You can communicate all you want with someone, but if they don't understand you, it's silent chaos." That's on the Black Love feed post, as I saw on my Instagram. And I was thinking about how I, as a person, could be a better communicator. So I looked up some information on that, and I was going to present that in this video, but then I didn't want this to feel so technical. I didn't want it to feel like it was a class on emotion. I felt like this should be more like we're just able to communicate. So I read it, and then I just thought I would talk about it as far as just like the issues that I have with communication, especially relationships. As a person who is dating right now, I think it's so important for me to clearly express my intentions early on in the relationship. That's usually beneficial. I've ran into issues myself, just as far as wanting to be someone's friend or wanting to be their like significant other, having a love interest or being friend zoned because I wasn't clear, or having a friend want to come out of that zone because I wasn't clear. So I think the first thing that we have to do in regard to communication, as I mentioned in that article, for instance, like when I'm angry and I usually won't say anything as regards communication, because if I'm angry and I do say something, it's usually a cutting remark, which in regard to relationships can be hurtful. That can have long lasting effects, right? And I can say things at that time because I am feeling a certain way that I might care less about that person's feelings than I do later on. And then I'm feeling bad for having made them feel bad, which, can be viewed as making me like, yes, human, but it still is, a pretty crappy thing to do. So what I'm trying to work on as far as communication is telling people what I think and what I feel at that moment. Like, for an example, I was hanging out with a girl I was dating this past weekend, and we went to the mall, and we were like both really excited to go shopping, and we hit all these stores that she wanted to go to, and before we knew it, the store was closed. So I never got to hit those places that I wanted to go to. Inwardly, I was upset, and I didn't take it out on her, but in my head I was thinking to myself, like, this is what happens when you're dating someone. Like, you end up having to exchange time, which in that case, I'm still getting used to that feeling. I'm still getting used to that kind of give and take, like, because I'm so used to being by myself. I'm so comfortable with the idea of going where I want to go when I want to go there. And so she noticed later on, I'm driving, and she's like, I seem pretty silent and somber, and I made up an excuse because I didn't want to talk about what really bothered me, because at the same time it felt kind of petty. I didn't feel like she should apologize for something like that, because it just happens. And I felt like there was like this inward kind of like conversation within myself that I had to have, as far as like just being okay with making time for other people. So how can I be a better communicator? How can we be better communicators? There's key levels, right? The first thing is to notice that if a person is willing to receive that information, that's important. Communication is like a channel, or it's like it's a two-way channel. So if you're saying something and that person is receiving it, you have to make sure that the message is being carried across. I might filter in some clips that I had done on that information earlier this week that kind of highlighted that. I might share some of that information and kind of interloop that. But basically it was saying that it is a channel, and that you have to make sure that that person is ready to receive the information, because it is possible that what we're saying out of our mouths and out of our body, right, because communication is also nonverbal. So if the information that we're conveying is not what they're receiving, then the message can be lost. So we have to also check in and make sure that the person is hearing exactly what we want to say. So that's a key part of communication. And I think that that's something that I also want to add in my relationship, is just making sure that what I'm saying and what I mean is what they're hearing, making sure that we're on the same page. Also too, listening, obviously, as a communicator is important. I am very guilty of only hearing what I want to hear, which is not healthy in any relationship. So that's an important thing for me to pay attention to make sure that I'm connecting with that other person and helping them feel like what they're saying is valuable to me. Another key way is to write your thoughts down. Sometimes I can feel like I'm so upset that I can't even put those words into out of my mouth, because I have anxiety for one reason. I can freeze. So writing that information down, right? I'm a pretty strong writer, so writing that down and just telling that person hey, can you give me a moment? I'm feeling pretty upset. I can't really put these words into expression right now, so just give me a moment, let me organize my thoughts, and then maybe we can talk about this when we're both ready, because that's what communication is. And that also allows that person to see that you understand the importance of what is going on, and that you want to address it, and you want to do so in the correct way. So I think if I had to sum this up, as far as communication, I guess it could boil down to three things. Is it the right time? Is it the right message? And is it being received correctly? So time, as far as the time and place. Are you guys able to communicate to where there's not a lot going on, there's not a lot of distractions, and the volume and the emotional state is appropriate for communication? And then obviously the right message being that you're saying what you mean to say, instead of saying something you didn't mean. And of course making sure that it's being received correctly and that the person is hearing what you're saying. That is communication. Okay, so that'll do it for this video. Hit that like button. I'll see you in the comments. Let's talk about things that you guys are doing to be better communicators. And I will see you guys in the next video.